All right, and we have Kyle Porter and Doug Bell joining us from Augusta. We're behind you right now. It looks beautiful. I know some rain, colder temps might be in the forecast ahead, but right now you guys are looking great, and we are here with a Masters preview. So we got to start talking about Scottie Scheffler, obviously the betting favorite to win at Augusta, looking to defend that green jacket. Doug, why do you guys think Scottie could win again on this course?
Well, he's number one in the world for a reason, because he's playing at a very high level. He won the Players' Championship, played great at match play, Kyle, until he stumbled there against Sam Burns late in that match. But he comes in really playing at a high level. I'm just a little worried, as the reigning champion. He was the host of the Champions Dinner last night. He talked about the food. Cheeseburger sliders, Texas ribeye steak, firecracker shrimp, chocolate cake. There goes Sergio and Henrik Svensson by us, but I'm afraid maybe he ate too much last night, Kyle. Maybe he can't go out and perform.
He may have. I don't know if it's going to affect his game, though. Scottie Scheffler has been kind of extraordinary so far in 2023, even compared to what he did in 2022 when he won 3 times leading into the Masters and then won the Masters. Doug, he's been 2 strokes per tournament better in 2023. He hasn't won as much. He hasn't won 3 times. He's only won twice.
Right.
Phoenix and the Players' Championship. But if you just look at his raw stats, Scottie Scheffler's playing better in 2023 leading into the Masters when he kind of blew the field out last year than he was a year ago. So I think that is a pretty interesting number as you consider Scottie Scheffler for going back-to-back.
Yeah, Doug, you mentioned his menu. Certainly a lot going on there. There was a little shrimp, sliders, tortilla soup, a wide range of food there. All right, let's talk about Rory. Obviously, he's been trying to complete the career Grand Slam for 9 years now. Tiger saying with some confidence in his presser, hey, Rory's going to do it. It's only a matter of time before he does it. Doug, do you guys think his time could be now?
Well, I hope so. We're all kind of rooting for Rory to complete that Grand Slam, career Grand Slam. But again, only 5 golfers in the history of the game have ever done it. 18 others have won 3 of the 4 legs. So history's certainly not on Rory's side. But I think the key for Rory is he comes in this week. And listen, everybody's rooting for him. That's a big storyline. He has to get off to a better start. Scoring average opening round the last 4 years, 74.25. That's almost 2.5 shots over par. So he's put himself in a hole the last 4 years. Has to get off to a fast start on Thursday. Then possibly he can go on to win. But again, he's carrying that burden, Kyle. That's a pretty heavy burden. That's all anybody's been talking about for a long time, and he hasn't won a major since 2014. So can he do it? We'll have to see if the golf gods are smiling. I think that's a heavy burden to carry for anybody.
It is a heavy burden. I want to talk about that in a second, but to follow up with his opening round scoring average, he's only shot in the 60s twice here in the first round. He did it in 2011. He did it in 2018. Both those years, he plays in final pairing on Sunday. So there is certainly a connection to him playing great in the first round and then being in it late on a Sunday. And, that burden that he carries around, I've got a piece coming out on CBSSports.com either today or early tomorrow about Rory's kind of forever war. And, he's been fighting this war for professional golf over the last year. When you look at some of the PGA Tour and LIV stuff and the major, there's been a lot going on. Right. But his real war is with himself, and it's at Augusta National. And I think that is a very compelling drama. There's nothing more compelling than us trying to battle ourselves, no matter what what industry we're in and what job we're doing. And that's what we're going to see from Rory, not just this week, but if he doesn't do it again next year, again the following year. And I think that's it's a very entertaining thing to watch, and it's a very compelling drama to kind of see unfold.
Yeah, one of the hottest golfers on tour right now, we're talking about Jon Rahm. He's had a lot of success early in this season. Of course, we saw that. But do you guys think that he can parlay that success into a Masters win?
Jacqueline, it's been 7 weeks since he played so brilliantly at the Genesis Invitational at Riviera, and he was brilliant. But again, there's been a 7-week stretch where he's reached kind of a lull in his game, which happens. But I will say this, Jon Rahm, and with all due respect to Scottie Scheffler and Rory, he is the most talented player here. He has more weapons in his bag than anybody else, and his game really does appear perfectly suited for Augusta National. Long off the tee, high iron shots, an incredible short game, wonderful imagination out of what are really tough bunkers here at Augusta National. He has 4 top 10s already here at the Masters. He's destined to win eventually, Kyle. Will it happen this week? We'll have to see how it unfolds, but he's certainly, I think he's poised and ready. Well,
I think what's interesting, Doug, I picked Jon Rahm to win the Masters. We had to do picks on January 1st, which is
right.
It's a fool's errand.
Sure.
I barely know who's going to win on Sunday afternoon, much less on January 1st. And I picked Jon Rahm, and he's won 3 times since then, and yet I feel less confident than I did on January 1st. And I think the reason for that, Jacqueline, is that he hasn't played very good golf over the last month. Since he won at Riviera, he's had kind of an uneven, bumpy ride. He didn't play well at the Arnold Palmer, had to withdraw from the Players' Championship after the first round, and then didn't really play that well at the match play. He was 5 over and lost 5 down to Billy Horschel in that third set, or that third match in match play. So Jon Rahm can absolutely win the Masters. I don't come in with as much confidence as I thought I would that he was going to do so after he wins so much at the beginning of 2023.
And guys, there's, of course, plenty of storylines around the Masters, but whenever Tiger is in the field at any tournament, of course, that is going to be a major one. All eyes are always on Tiger whenever he plays, making just his second start of the season, finish T45 at the Genesis. Doug, what are your expectations for Tiger this weekend? I know it's a big question.
Yeah. No, Jacqueline, it's amazing it's taken this long to get to Tiger, which is unusual. This is the 25th year that he's played in the Masters. Where has time gone, right? A year ago, and of course Kyle was here, the only major that he completed all 4 rounds was here at Augusta National. Now 47 years old, walks with a pronounced limp. Told us in the press conference just yesterday that the pain is not going away. It's actually getting worse. And so I think the opportunities for Tiger are going to be few and far between. I think he is confident at this place where he's won 5 times. I think he knows this golf course better than any other, even though he's had a lot of success at some other places. I think going into the weekend again is a distinct possibility. I think Tiger will make the cut and play all 4 rounds again. He looks great. He's not going to win anymore. Those are my expectations for the great Tiger Woods. I think, again, he'll make the cut and play into the weekend.
I think that's right, Doug. Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, you see him swinging, even on the range, playing practice rounds. The swing looks great.
Yes, it
looks really good.
Yeah.
And then you hear Rory talk and Fred Couples talk, guys that he played practice rounds with, and they're kind of saying, Rory said yesterday, if he didn't have to walk, he'd be one of the favorites.
Right.
And you're like, well, that's problematic because walking is sort of part of the deal. Unfortunately for Tiger and for, people who are fans of him winning big-time golf tournaments, he does have to walk. He has to walk 300 yards to his ball and then another 200 yards. And that's just, it sounds weird at a high-level athletic competition that walking would take a toll on you. We've never talked about Tiger as like, oh, he's a great walker, And yet, that's sort of the position that we're in. So it's a weird juxtaposition where the game's still there mentally. He was talking yesterday about he's envisioning every shot. He can't sleep because he's going through this kind of catalog of shots in his mind, which is such a cool thing to hear. It's just a matter of whether he can literally walk 72 holes over 4 days.
Right.
All right, guys, let's get into the picks and the predictions. If you had to pick someone as a top 10 lock, Doug, who are you going with?
I got to go with Jon Rahm because, again, he's the most talented player here, with all due respect to the other players. Again, there's only 88 players in the field. That'll be top 50 in ties as we head into the weekend. And I think Jon Rahm will be on that final page of the leaderboard heading into Sunday. And then we'll roll the dice and see if maybe he can get a green jacket. But I think Jon Rahm, a guy who already has 4 top 10s in a short run here at Augusta National, to me, Kyle, that's a pretty good bet. He's a top 10 lock.
Yeah, I think that is. I'm going to go with Collin Morikawa. He's somebody that we haven't talked about so far in this segment, but he's somebody that comes in hitting the ball great. He's gaining. If you look at 9 of the last 11 Masters winners, they came in the 3 months leading into the Masters gaining 1.7 strokes gained tee to green or better. So those are guys that are hitting the ball best, right? Collin Morikawa is in that group. You throw Cam Young in there. You throw Rahm in there. You throw Rory, Scheffler. The guys that are playing the best golf so far in 2023. But I think Morikawa is flying a little more under the radar than the rest of those names. Jason Day's in there. We haven't talked about him. So I think Collin Morikawa is going to finish in the top 10, but he's not he's 25 to 1 to win the tournament. He's a 2-time major winner. He finished in the top 10 last year at this golf tournament. I don't think we're really talking about him maybe as much as we should.
All right, and finally, Doug, we want to get your pick. Who is going to be putting on the green jacket in Augusta come Sunday?
Well, I'm going off the radar a little bit because Justin Thomas has fallen outside the world rankings, outside the top 10, which is amazing when you think about it. Has not had a great start to this season on the PGA Tour, but Kyle, over the last 4 years, no player has had more birdies or eagles than Justin Thomas here at Augusta National. And he laughed in his press conference yesterday. He said, that means I'm recording a lot of bogeys and double bogeys. So he knows how to score here. I watched him on the range yesterday with his dad, Mike. He feels the game is in a good spot. He's a guy who desperately wants to win the Masters and has put a lot of pressure on himself, and he says he comes in this year with a different frame of mind. I'm going with JT, and again, you're talking about odds, right? When you get Justin Thomas at 20 or 22 to 1, I think that is an incredible bet.
It is a good number. I'm going with a bad number because I'm going with Scotty Scheffler. I think he's 5 to 1, I believe, last time I looked to win the Masters. I mean, it's all the reason I mentioned earlier, Doug. His performance has increased since last year, and he ran away with the Masters last year. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to win again. He might miss every putt he looks at. I don't know about that, but I think what's so interesting about him, and I wrote an article after the Players' Championship, which he won, he's a very boring golfer is kind of the term that people use, but what that really means, he's a very smart golfer. He doesn't take a lot of chances. He moves his dispersion pattern around the golf course. He's not going to miss in horrible spots at Augusta National, and there's a lot of horrible spots to miss. And so I have a lot of trust that Scheffler's going to be in contention. He's playing, along with Rory and Rahm, the best golf in the world. I think Scotty Scheffler becomes the first person since Tiger Woods in 2002 to repeat at Augusta National.
All right, Kyle Porter and Doug Bell joining us here on HQ from Augusta with the Masters preview. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate it and enjoy Augusta. I mean, how could you not? It looks beautiful there. Doug is going with JT to get a green jacket. Kyle is saying Scotty is going to win it back-to-back. And you can hear Kyle alongside Rick Gaiman on their podcast, The First Cut. In the latest episode, they're joined by Patrick McDonald and Greg Ducharme with more Masters previews. They're talking about Rory's attempt at a career Grand Slam, and then, of course, Tiger's return to Augusta and so much more. You can download and listen wherever you find your pods or scan that QR code.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.